I want to do a quick troubleshooting video for SSL certificates just in case it's still not working for you. I want to go over 3 or 4 of the most common issues. So if you've done all of these steps and it's just not quite working for you, I want you to check all of these things first. I mentioned this before, but I just want to reiterate. Go to dnschecker.org, put in the name of your website, look at the A record, and make sure that the IP address that you see right here is the same IP address that you see in WHM right here. If those 2 IP addresses don't match, then you're not going to be able to get an SSL certificate. That's really important. It has to have that clear channel of communication from one to the other. So if that's not there, if the IP address isn't the same, or it's not going to the server where the certificate is going to be installed on, then of course it's not going to work. So check with DNS Checker, make sure the IP addresses match, and then you should be able to go in and issue your certificate through cPanel. The other thing you can check too is go into your cPanel, type SSL, and verify under SSL TLS status that you have this green padlock. If that padlock isn't there, then it means that something failed, that you don't actually have the SSL certificate installed. The nice thing too is it'll give you an error message. If it says could not install SSL, it'll say why. It says, hey, the IP addresses don't match, there's a mismatch there, or a plethora of other different reasons. So look at that as kind of your first clue. The third thing that you can check is obviously the htaccess file, which is the video that we just talked about. But go back to your file manager, go to htaccess, edit that file, and make sure that the htaccess file shows like this. Again, it's not important that you understand what all this means or what it does. It's really not that important, but if you copy and paste it into this file, that's going to force our website to load over HTTPS and not HTTP. The fourth thing that you can do to check and make sure that your website is going to load properly is go back to your cPanel. I'll come back here. And we're going to go to PHP MyAdmin. And this is assuming you've got a WordPress website already installed, configured. You're just trying to get this up and running. If you expand out the database name, this is going to be different on your own website. So just take note of that. You're going to want to go to the _options database table. If you click on this, it's actually going to show you these first 2 options right here, which say site URL and home. If you come over here under option value, you'll see the URL of the website, your domain name. It may be that this says http://. Let me actually change this just so you can see. So I'll do that. And I'll edit this one as well. You can just double click in here and edit these. So if you come in here and your website looks like this, that's going to be an issue, because as soon as your browser tries to load the web page, it's going to try to load it under HTTP. Yes, we've got the htaccess file, we've got the SSL certificate installed, but this is going to cause kind of a conflicting area, and we don't want that. So you can come in here, just double click, type HTTPS. The other thing is we can type HTTPS. And then we should be good. Go ahead and reload your website and see if that did the trick. The next thing you can try is to see if your images or any other links are being loaded over HTTP. So if I go into the code of my website, let's say for example, I go to this website. Actually, I'll just pull this up. So let me refresh this page. If I right click here and go view page source, there's all these different links in here, a bunch of different things. Look at this one right here. So if I zoom in, this says http://. If there's any link on my website that is being loaded over HTTP, they're not going to give you an SSL certificate. That's because they want to make sure that your base website is loaded over HTTPS, is secure, and all the other links that you're pulling into your website, pictures, CSS, JavaScript, you name it, anything that you're pulling in also needs to be loaded over a secure source. So if you're not getting that little padlock in your browser, there's one cool website that will show you how to do this. So if you open a new tab and say, go to whynopadlock.com, it's kind of a funny name. Whynopadlock.com, if you say, I'm not a robot, let's go to brycejmatheson.com and we'll say test page. It's actually going to go out and scan and see if you've got a valid SSL certificate, if you've got any images, CSS, JavaScript, or anything else being loaded over HTTP. If you come over here, test results, everything looks good. You can see my SSL certificate is through that company called Let's Encrypt, which I mentioned earlier. I'm forcing HTTPS. I've got a valid certificate. It's not expired. Everything looks good. This is the section that you want to look for. You have no mixed content. This is what I was talking about with the images, the JavaScript, the CSS being loaded over HTTPS. If they're loaded over HTTP, this section right here is going to show you, look, you have these images to fix. So yeah, you'll definitely want to check and make sure that you don't have any mixed content, because that's going to prevent you from getting an SSL certificate as well. So that's a lot of different steps. I realize there's a lot to that. It's not as bad as it seems, but you need to make sure that, if you're not getting that padlock, those are the steps that I would follow.